Tabangalo?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how's it?
I'm sorry. Who are the donor my eating at that?
Pradon.
Hey, already work up we can on garage.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay, no phone, Carla, Lohana.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So, next. 25 minutes after the hour 11, ako nakakono jalo mitana pero na wama ko ubajalo ka tabang matla kung tiene kenor kung ubusan na dala na muskutan ng sarna sa hot property enteru ko tama ka sila mo kontinjan tabang arte kena ko ro di medi pero mo kailang mai kinga fam.
Hello, Pradon. Thank you for having me in your show.
Dauka. Kalau nggak terkena salah kau ena kamu kusanya ore ena udira jang aure kita tahu reka tahu nana sebagai sekai oleh industri.
Okay, so my name is Tabang Manen, as you already said. So I'm a real estate agent. I focus mainly on Pretoria and the Hartbeespoort areas. So yeah, we do a lot of deals. I've been working as a real estate agent for like 2 to 3 years now. So yeah, it's been nice so far.
Oh yes. Tabang. Aku orang sekolahnya na waktu dia lalu kamu pilih
Kazamanya na marasi ampetanya.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Tabang, hari buat rekan kudu juga isi muncul something like that moraku karekan.
Okay, so as buying a house, it's a very difficult and emotional process. There's a few things like you need to be aware of before you can even start with the process of buying a house. Like I think the basic thing is to really just decide on how you're gonna fund for the house, like how you're gonna finance it. So if you have enough cash, or do you have to use the bank to finance the house? So if you have enough cash, then it's not really much of a struggle. But if it's a finance, there's a few things that you need to look at, like your credit score. You need to check if you have a very good credit score, because that is very much important for the banks. And if you are not having a healthy credit score, then it means you need to start a process of building a credit score. Like it means that you need to pay your bills on time and every time, in terms of all the credit that you have accumulated so far, be it a clothing account, a vehicle, finance, all those other things. And the other thing is to just boost your affordability. You just need to make sure that the debts that you have and you can pay them as much as possible. Then you just pay them to make sure that you free up some space, because a house costs a lot, and it's not just about the monthly installment that you will have. There's things like property rates, things like levies, water and electricity, and all those kind of stuff. And the other thing to take note of is you need to save up some money, because there's additional cost when you're buying a house. Like maybe you'll be required of a deposit, but also you need to take note that there's mandatory transfer cost and bond registration cost if you are buying already an existing house. And then the other thing that you need to really consider is to say, okay, to have a budget that is realistic. So you need to do that beforehand, before you can even start looking to say, okay, this is my budget, and then identify what is your present and future needs in terms of the house. Like what kind of a house are you looking for that will meet your lifestyle, in which areas. And also you need to consider the securities in that area to say, okay, is it safe? How is the crime in that area? Also, you need to identify the type of space that you want, like the property type, whether you want to live in a freestanding house or an estate. Both of those you need to really understand. Otherwise, if you have identified all those things, then you can start viewing houses, looking for houses.
What are the most important factors that people tend to ignore, especially when buying a house?
Okay, I think especially for first-time buyers, I think they don't really understand the cost of buying a house. People just think like when you are buying a house, you just need to pay the monthly installment to the bank, excluding other additional costs that comes with buying a house. And I've had some cases where buyers, they're not aware of this, like for example, as I said, transfer cost and bond registration cost. So now when we are in the process already, when you tell them about this, you find that they do not have enough money to pay for those things. And that becomes a problem, because now it means now you need to make a plan. You need to either make another additional loan on top of a home loan, which is becomes now quite expensive for you, and this is not really nice to see.
Oh yes. Tabang, the sad reality is that most people are building houses nowadays as compared to people who are buying houses. So what are the advantages of buying a house instead of building a house from scratch?
Okay, so this is quite a difficult question to answer, because it really depends on the person. It really depends on the circumstances the persons are facing. So you can look at it at different perspective in terms of advantages. Both building and both buying have their own advantages. But if I'm just going to focus on buying, so if you're buying, there's already a house that is standing there. So the time in terms of the waiting time to move in is much more quicker. So if you are looking for a faster process to moving into your new home, so buying is really the option to go, because if you are building, it takes a whole lot of time. Okay, so that is one thing. And then on buying as well, it is the price is more negotiable depending on the condition of the house. So if you are buying, you can really negotiate, and it is really flexible in terms of the price. Because if you see a house that, okay, it has cracks there, this needs to be renovated also, then you can ask the seller of the house to say, okay, can we negotiate on the price? But if you are building, there's not so much negotiation in terms of the prices of the materials. There is on some degree you can be able to get some discount here and there, but it is rare, and it means you need to understand what you're doing to get a good deal. And the other thing is, I think it is cheaper to buy than to rent, to build, because of the building loan. If you are taking a building loan, for example, if you compare the interest rate that you will get on a already existing house and the building loan that you might take, the building loan is much more expensive. So in that regard, buying is more cheaper. And then the other thing is, it's not the last thing, but it's the last thing that I'm going to discuss on this issue, is like amenities, facilities. If it's already a house that is standing, they're already there, they're already in place. Because in most cases, when you're buying a house, it is not just an isolated house somewhere, but it is a house that is close to some kind of neighborhood, some kind of schools, malls, and all those kind of stuff. But in most cases, if you are building from scratch, you might find that the land that you are getting, it's much far from amenities, from schools, from all these areas, which makes life a bit difficult.
Oh yes. So Tabang, any other advice regarding buying a house? If someone out there is looking to buy a house, how would you advise that person?
Okay, if you want to buy a house, I think you must just follow the steps that I advise in terms of how to decide, in terms of how you're going to finance the house and all that. And then if you are buying via the bank, I will really advise you to go to use bond originators, because rather than going straight to the bank, because bond originators, they do a bond comparison, which means that they apply on your behalf to all the banks in South Africa and then get what is the best interest rate, and you have the ability to really have a view of what all the banks are offering you, and then you can choose the cheapest deal for you, like in terms of the interest rate and the amount they're actually giving you. But if you go to the bank yourself, it is there's no comparison, there's no competition with the bank, which means that they are gonna just give you any interest rate, which might be a very expensive option for you. So I will really advise that you use bond originators, unless if you work at the bank. In that regard, those people always get the best deals, which even bond originators cannot really beat. So yeah, that's the issue. Yeah.
All right. No, Tabang, thanks a lot for your time and thanks a lot for your advice this morning. Have a lovely day, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, bye.